As a family, you're all living through this at the time. It doesn't come with a manual, and you're reacting to circumstances as they happen, so it's hard.
The trouble with a serious illness is usually there is nobody around you, amongst your friends, family, your social circle, who are going through the same thing. And so you feel isolated and think that you're the only one. But getting outside of your own social circle and meeting people who are in a similar situation, you realise that, gee, I'm not alone. And I personally think that must be a great comfort, because there's nothing worse than feeling isolated and alone.
Basically, you're on 24-hour call, and you just don't know when that next call's going to be, that you've just got to up and go.
Because Alzheimer's usually affects people who are quite late on in life. They think that they're able to care because they're their partner, and yet if you were to walk into a care facility, you don't see many 80-year-old carers looking after people. And so it was quite difficult to get Mum to begin to realise that she wasn't always the best.
I was a trained nurse, so that, I guess, gives you a bit of experience. I didn't do mental health, so it has been a really steep learning curve for me in a lot of ways. For somebody who didn't have any experience, I think it would be really tough.
Dementia, I think, is probably harder in terms of support than other conditions, because it really is 24/7, and it's also it changes, so that what works one week might not work the next week. You have to be very flexible. It's tiring. It can be very, very exhausting.
I think from Mum's point of view, she never liked us going away. That was always an area where she was very anxious, and our friends would ring up and say she doesn't like you being away, and we knew she didn't like us being away because we could tell. And we made a very conscious decision to look for respite care, so that we can actually have breaks away on a regular basis now. We have been advised that we should even increase this to when we're not away, so that we can just have a break on a regular basis. And I think that's the biggest change for Mum. And although she was a little bit reluctant at first, she's now very accepting of this and actually likes it, and has made friends there. And that is a positive for us.
There's so many implications when you're caring, like the financial implications, the stress. I've given up paid work in order to manage the situation. I have no pension, things like that. These are real, tangible difficulties that carers experience. And I think probably in the earlier stages that maybe sort of dominates. I think now that both Mum and Dad have been in care for a number of years, I've actually been granted a period of reflection, which I wouldn't have had they died suddenly. And I'm not sure initially if I thought that was a good thing. I think now I do. I think that I've had an opportunity to, as I say, maybe almost re-establish a relationship that I didn't have.
It's your partner, and they're important. They're a person. And no matter what's going on in their mind, and they're messing yours up as well, they're still your partner. And to me, that's so important, that you've got to try and get through those little things that are not easy, and you're going to have floods of tears from time to time. You'll scream, you'll yell, you'll swear, you'll do it all. The emotions are amazing. Your whole body is going. But slowly but surely, you do come to terms in little steps.
My mum and dad celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary a couple of weeks ago, and it was difficult to organise, but we managed to take my mum from her care home over to my dad. The rest of the family came, all the grandchildren were there, and we had some cake and we played some music. We had cards and some flowers, and it was only an hour, but it was a really precious and special moment, and we've got photos of that. And that's not just, even if mum and dad don't maybe remember that, as the rest of us, we've still got that, and we're still a family.